Oh,
I
that's
love
clean.
that. It is clean.
Oh. Travis complained about the audio, so I had to go back and like bring the audio down a little bit. But yeah, it's nice. Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. I am Taylor Field of Fields, Taylor Field, and I am joined by.
The legacy, Kirklin, Patzer.
Yes, we have a juicy episode to get into today, ladies and gentlemen, because Travis has provided with a whole plethora of amazing topics, and I just can't wait to get into some of this because there's some rowdy things going on out there in the geek world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of Marvel, a little bit of DC, no Star Wars, but we got a little bit of trailers to talk as well, maybe a little James Bond stuff. So a whole bunch of stuff there. It's going to be great. Before we get into that, a couple of plugs though. Be sure to check us out on our website. I was going to say Cryptic Clues. Wrong plugs.
You can plug that too.
Yeah, check out Cryptic Clues. Our website, GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook. Be sure to check us out on our Patreon where you can get ad-free, early, exclusive content available there as per the banner below. Also, in relation to Patreon, we have our producers, Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Joshua Wright. You folks are fantastic. You're keeping the show alive right now. Just like, I mean, everyone else helping keep the show alive, but you guys are keeping the lights on. The show is green lit. Like, without our producers, I mean, we wouldn't cancel the show, but we might feel like we should.
It's so grim. You guys are keeping us afloat. We're just scraping by. It's not that bad, guys. Come on.
But yeah, so definitely thank you to you guys as well. There's something else that we normally shut up, but I'm not shutting them out anymore. I'm not supposed to. What else do we got here? What's cooking? We got side quests that dropped with you and Dylan this week. What do you and Dylan talk about side quest?
Yes, Dylan and I just did a super fun. We were talking about our winter games that we blah, that was easy for me to say. Let's take two on that one. We talked about some winter games that we just think are like a winter themed game that for some reason we usually just come back to around the holidays. We also talked about our we've covered our Spotify Wrapped on the podcast, but there on SideQuest we covered our Steamed Replay, which is basically the Spotify Wrapped equivalent, which I didn't even know they've done that. I think this might be the first year that they have been doing that, but basically just tells you what you've been playing this year and what you've been spending, your time on, at least on Steam. And that was kind of fun and eye-opening to go through some of those statistics with Mr. Dylan Muss and myself on there. So definitely go check out that. We had a lot of fun just, again, talking about winter games. He has a super tragic story about his recent Fire Emblem experience. So for that alone, I feel like it's worth checking out that episode. But no, that was lots of fun. That was the first cast I did in 2023, and this is the second cast. So a lot of one-on-ones going on this year, and I'm liking them. I'm not ready for Travis yet, so it's good that I still got some time. Only one more day until I see Travis. But
you gotta pace yourself.
I'm happy to be here with you, Mr. Field.
Yes. Likewise, feelings mutual. I guess this is my first cast as well of the year. My second cast will be either Bad Batch Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2 review, or Megan spoilers review.
So you're seeing that, eh?
I'm seeing that. Oh, yeah.
Are you alone on that one? I don't think Travis was too intrigued.
He messaged me this morning. He said he was contemplating seeing it, and that there's a 50-50 chance that he might pull through and get around to it. So we'll have to see. Okay. But yeah, either way, there's a couple of reviews coming your way this week. And then we have, what else do we have? I can't say because I don't even know if it's been announced yet, but we got a couple cool things that are like looming in the distance that'll be dropping on your feeds soon.
Some retros.
Retros, yeah. Yeah.
Like 80% sure we've announced them already, but just in case that 20% chance I get that wrong, I'll be hearing about it in the morning. So
there you go.
We'll choose silence.
I think that is everything. So without further ado, we could get into our first topic of the night, which is our main headline. The OOS Bubs, you interrupted me here, but it's okay. I'll see Megan this weekend or rewatch The Way of Water. Rewatch The Way of Water, really. It gets better on that second watch through. Me and Kirklin can attest to that.
The Way of Water?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why. In my mind, I thought it was The Shape of Water. And I'm like, how are those movies related in any way, shape, or form? Like, that's not even like a recent movie. But yes, go rewatch The Way of Water. Taylor and I both liked it more on the second
yes, absolutely.
Megan or rewatch The Shape of Water? It's like, okay, as Bubs, I guess you can make that decision.
But yes, so our first topic, our main topic of the night is MCU based. Now, this is a C tier rumor. Now, C comes after B, which is after A, which then comes after S for some reason. But there you go. Marvel Legacy villains in Secret Wars with the heroes attached as well. Now this is cool. I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts on this, Kirklin? Are you
Yeah.
excited?
I am very much excited about this because say what you will about the Marvel Legacy, I think there's what's the best metaphor for this? If this is like a big field of green grass, that's the Marvel Legacy. And then you got some shiny nickels in there. That they're not like you're gonna, I don't know, take days off work because you found some nickels in a grass, but it'll definitely boost your mood. And I think Marvel Legacy films have those kind of littered throughout. And a key part of this, like the wording on this, is it's not just Marvel Legacy films; it's also including the shows. Which, I mean, I haven't seen too many of the Marvel Legacy shows. Some that come to mind would be like Agents of Shield, I think is one of them. You got the Netflix shows, all of those products. It would encompass in this, and I think that's awesome because I haven't seen all of Daredevil, I haven't seen Jessica Jones, but like I've heard there's at least some good characters and some good moments in those types of shows. So I think having those characters possibly show up in something like Secret Wars, I think it'll definitely boost it in a positive sense for sure. Because I mean, yeah, we'll get to it. Like we might be listing off some picks that we would want to see in there. But before we get to that, I'll let you give your little taste on this because I know you've had some good times with the Marvel Legacy.
Yes, we did I'm pretty sure we did a retro of it back in the day, and we just went through all the legacy films for Marvel, and we even did a poll for it too, a Facebook poll. Just to kind of like create a champion of that with all the Marvel Legacy franchises out there. Because there's quite a few. My prominent go-to ones are definitely Ghost Rider for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I grew up also
Big X-Men
enjoying
hater.
Big X-Men. Well, we'll see. Maybe
I'll put
not
words
for
in your
long.
mouth. Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that to pull from these different sources of Legacy would be fantastic. I totally think that they should do it. I think that every time I hear like possible Legacy heroes coming over into the like Secret Wars and stuff, it gets me super, super giddy, super, super excited. So I'm totally down for this. I think they should do it. And of course, if you bring in just the heroes, you got to bring in the villains in some way as well. So when I hear that, what was it? Captain America 4 was going to have the dude from The Incredible Hulk, which I can't remember his name. He's a scientist.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. New World Order. It's gonna have.
Yes.
He has a weird name, like the professor or something like that. It's like the captain.
Oh, the leader.
The leader. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like Stupid
Yeah.
name. Stupid name.
So that's, to me, like, I know obviously he's on Legacy because that Incredible Hulk movie is totally it's MCU with like, Iron Man 1 and all that jazz, Avengers, just different actor portraying the character. But I think that's great. That is like bringing someone from the past back in. So to do Legacy, having different universes is totally up my alley. I think the villains could totally work with this as well.
Yeah.
So I'm curious now, what Marvel villains, and even heroes for that matter, would you like to see in the MCU?
Villains.
Yeah, and heroes too, if you have any like appear in Secret Wars.
I mean, my like dream pick, which I don't think is I guess it is possible. I don't think it's likely by any means, would be actually like Ian McKellen's Magneto from X-Men, because I just think like since we got Patrick Stewart back as Charles Xavier in the MCU, like that was just such a holy shit moment, and like to just finish like that perfect comeback moment would to actually have Ian McKellen back as Magneto. But he's like, I don't know. I think he's 83 or something like that. And that's not to say he can't be working or anything. But I just feel like the ship has sailed maybe on that possibility of him coming back with the helmet and everything and just floating in and kicking ass. But I still would love to see like that I guess I was going to say that Magneto, but my second call was going to be another Magneto, which is Michael Fassbender's Magneto. I think that would be so phenomenal to get him on screen in the MCU. And so, yeah, like a lot of Magneto points from me at least. So if I can get, like I was going to say, Ian McKellen would be my go-to, but if I can't have him, give me Michael Fassbender. I think that would be so pleasurable for my eyes and my viewing experience. So that's like the first one that came to mind. But because there's so many things in the Marvel Legacy, like my mind was going to like even the Fantastic Four movies with like Chris Evans as Human Torts. I don't know why I said that. Torch. And like of course you have the character like Silver Surfer, who I cannot wait to get him in the MCU, but I think someone like that will maybe just be like a new version that oh my
Kevin.
gosh. I'm on a roll tonight. I don't know what's going on. Kevin Feige and the crew will just want to do like their own version of it, so they'll probably want to wait to to actually do like a proper Silver Surfer interpretation. At least I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But yeah, and then I guess I don't know, some other ones like you mentioned Ghost Rider. I completely forgot that Ghost Rider was even like a Marvel Legacy thing, just because it's so like in its own like category in my mind. But I don't know, like maybe having John Bernthal's Punisher, and like this is an interesting one because I think Travis might have covered it on Travis Told You, but like it's a character that just, it's so perfect to have him in like the Netflix category, but like to have that version and try and like MCUify it and to like bring it down to like a more palatable version that the rest of the MCU is kind of already having, like it would just do disservice to that character. However, having him appear in Secret Wars, I think that could be small enough that you could definitely get across with, it not being like super gory and brutal. You just have this awesome actor in the same, role character. I think that could be really fun. So, and like another one I had in my head was Deadpool, like the the Wolverine movie version.
Yes,
But at the same time, like we also already got that in Deadpool 2, like we saw that version again. So I think maybe since we already got that, they'll just let that one go. So, yeah, those are, again, like I feel like I could just keep going with tons of different X-Men to pitch here and there, but to just keep it a nice and short list, I'll say my 2 Magnetos, a little bit of John Bernthal Punisher in there. But yeah, no, I think this is such a fun like talking point though, because the potentials that could come out of this is just, it's astronomical. There's so many characters to choose from when you're talking about the Marvel Legacy films, and shows, heroes and villains. So feel it.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. And I'm thinking Ghost Rider for sure. I want Nick Cage's Ghost Rider to appear day one. Let's pop him in there, announce it. We already know what's going to happen. I want to see it happen. So
that was going to be my list, but I knew you were going to say it, so I left it off. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. So aside from that, my Punisher that I kind of grew up on was Punisher Warzone. And that was with, what was his name? Ray Stevenson as Punisher. And
Ray Stevenson.
Yeah, there's a few like great people involved with this film. Dominic West was involved. He was the villain, Jigsaw. I'd love to see Jigsaw come back. That was crazy as a villain seeing him. What else do we got here? Yeah, Wayne Knight was in there.
Oh my God, yeah, like
Salmon.
fuck. Oh, that's funny.
So that movie was just balls to the walls, bonkers. It was crazy. But yeah, I'm totally down for them to bring in more of these characters. I'm trying to think who else would I like to see. I never really got into the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I know I've watched like the Ghost Rider scenes and all that kind of stuff, just to kind of like keep myself on point with like, okay, Robbie Reeves and what he's up to. But there's some cool characters in there that I wouldn't mind seeing jump over. The characters in the Netflix show, I don't even really associate them as Legacy. I feel like they're more closer to MCU than Legacy, and specifically because of Daredevil's passing into it now. So
because of his passing,
yeah,
into it, yeah.
What else though in terms of characters and villains?
What about like I was even like in my mind, I'm like, is this where we actually get like a Sony crossover thing? Because technically, like,
oh, interesting.
It's like a Marvel Legacy. I don't know. You need some like air asterisks or something like next to it, but I feel like that technically could like fit like in that wording. And I don't know. Like, part of me is like that actually could be kind of fun. Like, if it's super minimal, don't give me Carnage from Venom 2, but I don't know. Just like Jared Leto's Morbius. I don't know why. Something in me is just telling me that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but Then again, maybe I should choose my words wisely
Like
here.
everyone would burst out laughing if like all these cool people, you see Toby Spider-Man, we see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Deadpool all coming out of portals.
Fassbender, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see Morbius fly in from above. Like people would lose their minds and laugh.
And Michael Keaton pulls out. He's like, "I'm Semolina crew" or whatever. There's
Yeah.
like, what's the lines? You and I should work together. Whatever the fuck it was. Okay,
Good
fair enough.
God.
You talked me off the ledge.
I don't know if they'll really touch upon that. I think after No Way Home, I think Marvel kind of got what they wanted and Sony got what they wanted. Marvel got a Venom and then Sony got a Michael Keaton. Or a symbiote was gone to Marvel. However you want to interpret that, that's it.
Okay, S-Bubs, what is this? What's this blue fart cloud? Is that his like smoke when he's flying around in like bat form? Is that what that is?
In bad form, it must
It's
be.
been too long since I've seen Morbius, so I can't remember what his blue fart cloud is. But.
Yeah, sorry, I'm doing a horrible job watching the chats, S-Bubs. What do you got? You got some comments here. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. already brought their own villains back via multiverse and time travel in the final season, so I don't think it'll happen again. Yeah, it doesn't sound like they would do it again. He remembers the leader from Marvel Snap. There you go. I suppose I think for Secret Wars we get McAvoy and Fassbender instead of McKellen and Stewart. I would agree with that. Yeah,
We got Stewart already, and like I said, unfortunately I don't think we're going to be seeing McKellen.
No, I think Stewart. He's died many times, but I do think that this was the final
most
kick
grotesque.
of the can. Oh yeah, Mhm. Yeah. He's not going to be coming back anytime soon. McAvoy would be very cool to see him come back, and Fassbender for sure. Let's have him come back because they were supposed to do another X-Men after Dark Phoenix, right? Was it Dark Phoenix?
Probably. Yeah, that was a god awful movie.
Yeah,
I should have stopped that before or after Apocalypse. They shouldn't have let Dark Phoenix come out.
I just gotta confirm. Yeah, it is Dark Phoenix. So that was 2019. I feel like that they probably were thinking like, oh, Dark Phoenix is gonna do so good. We're gonna do another one. But
Did you just say 2019?
2019 Dark Phoenix came
Holy
out.
crap. That feels like 10 years ago, honestly. Like I don't remember like more than one scene from that entire movie. That's crazy to me. That was only we're in 2023 now, so like 4 years ago, but still like that's less than 5 years. It feels so long ago when Dark Phoenix came out.
They killed off Mystique in that, didn't they?
Yeah,
Jennifer Lawrence.
Probably,
they just like, fuck, you're out of here, eh?
You're fucking dead, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what they told her.
Okay. So yeah, 2019, and I mean, I it's been a full year since we casted last and talked about the X-Men. But
You fucking got me.
did we really get into discussion of like X-Men popping up in Secret Wars? I mean, I imagine like just Wolverine, but like X-Men.
Yeah, I feel like every time I could be remembering this now. It's been a year since we talked about this. Haha, that was my turn. I feel like maybe whenever we're on the topic, it's just like X-Men it's its own thing that it'll. And also, I guess this is kind of before the Miss Marvel like start to trickle. There you go. That's the right terminology. Trickle some breadcrumbs like for some mutants. Like, oh, you got a mutation, or like they're getting us ready for it. But before that happened, when we were talking about this, I feel like we always kind of just like, oh, X-Men will probably just be after the Secret Wars thing. But I mean, we're already getting these breadcrumbs. We're getting closer to Secret Wars. They definitely have to introduce a lot more mutants up until then, I would imagine. But yeah, I don't know.
Well,
they'll probably be limited. It won't be like the X Mansion just opens up the doors and
X-Mansion,
fucking you got everyone from Kitty Pryde to Colossus, everyone.
That's an interesting note too, because obviously with Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine for Deadpool 3, I think it's interesting that that's obviously another example of a legacy character there. It adds more credibility to the Secret Wars having more Marvel legacy characters just in general. So I think that's a good little cushion for it.
Yeah, I think it's happening for sure. Like just like more X-Men, I think, than I would have imagined. I think will be in there.
Yeah,
and by more, it's like more than 0. So like not 50 or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think of any other X-Men characters that might pop in there. I mean, I totally agree. It's not all of them. Ooh, who got here?
He says, I think we'll see. Let me rephrase that. I think we'll see all major X-Men characters in Secret Wars, and after that, we'll have MCU world filled with mutants, hence the mutant saga. Yeah, there you go. He agrees.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick look here at major X-Men characters.
Because
Beast, obviously, Cyclops.
Oh, Beast is a good pick actually, because then like you could do two possible actors in that role. Like you have the oh my gosh, what's his name? Fraser. What's that actor's name? The guy that does it from the Jackman X-Men. I'm really off on names today, unfortunately.
I know
Hugh something, isn't it? Hugh Graham? Does that sound right?
there's Nicholas Holt's version.
Okay, that's the newer
Beast.
one,
That's
which
the
could
newer
be
one.
potential. I personally would want the
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's what you mean by Frasier. He played Frasier.
Yeah. I don't know why I had Hugh in my head, but Kelsey Grammer. Yeah, thank you. I personally would want that version in there. I think that would totally probably raise some goosebumps, I think, seeing him.
That's definitely the version I remember. I don't remember Nicholas's Holt's version.
with
I
his big
remember
feet.
Frasier for sure. Yeah, big feet. Yeah. On top of that, we have where'd my thing go? Shit, where'd it go? Oh, I lost my tab.
Got towed.
I got towed. But off the top of my head, I know we got.
Have you seen the X-Men like recently? Like the old like the Jackman ones? Not
It's
really,
been a
eh?
good minute.
Yeah.
I remember, I think X2. I remember they're in the Statue of Liberty. I remember Sabretooth just causing a ruckus.
That's
and
the
Wolverine
scene when
there.
like Toad is being a bad guy, and then Storm drops the line. It's like, you know what happens to a toad when struck by lightning? Same thing as everything else. It's just fucking great screenwriting there.
Great, absolutely fantastic. Sabretooth would be cool, a little comeback. But then we have two Sabretooths, don't we? Because they branded Sabretooth as what's the dude's name? He was in like X-Men Wolverine Origins, or not X-Men.
Yeah,
Wolverine
that's the one I'm
Origins.
thinking of. What's the other version you're thinking of?
There's the other
The
one in
old,
like X2. I'll pull
okay.
up a picture of it. Or maybe it was X-Men 1. X-Men 1. Sabretooth.
You're right. Yeah, he has like no pupils or something. Like I think like he has like a distinct look that he looks pretty saber-toothy.
Oh,
Not X-Men 90
God.
whatever version, but your screen sharing.
he looks like he's right out of Twilight.
yeah,
Look
like
at this guy.
actually.
Oh my God. Yeah, he had like no eyes either. Just like he looked like a demon. Oh my goodness. And then here's the new Sabretooth that they ran with
Yes,
afterwards.
with
so.
what's his name?
Oh my God. Is his name Victor Creed? That's not in real life. No.
I think that's the character's name.
Um,
But yeah, that guy. You're just going ham on the keyboard today.
I know,
love
just
it.
typing away. It's
It's gonna be one of those casts.
Liev
Les.
Schreiber.
Oh yeah, Les.
Les, your names are on point tonight. I love it.
Oh god, I gotta just stop. Yeah, no more names from me tonight.
Michael James Olsen. He played a Sabretooth?
He looks
There's
like
no
he's in
way
Twilight.
he's not this guy. No way. He looks like he de-aged.
Said he's 29 years old. There's no way
Oh, he
that's
played
him.
the young Sabretooth in an X-Men Origins Wolverine. Okay. We got it. We know exactly what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, something doesn't add up if that's the guy.
No.
Fuck, that's
Okay.
funny.
Cool. Well, I think that's all I have on the topics of the
Any other
legacy
X
stuff.
people? I feel like also something they could do is I forget like the guy's name, and like I said, I'm not gonna guess the names anymore. But Iceman, like from X-Men, like it is an actor in the role, but I feel like that's something easy that you could easily just have him in like his ice version, and then you don't have to worry about like bringing back the same actor. Sorry to that actor, but also like it's just a recognizable individual that like, you know, if you know Iceman from the X-Men, it'd be like, oh, like that's crazy that he's just in there, and you could just have him even in like the background or something, just shooting off some ice blasts. I think that could be really fun too. Like characters like that are kind of disguisable. I think that's a good play that they could do just to like fill up like with more chaos and more action on screen. Different characters. You don't
Like
necessarily need like, oh, that's what did you just say his name? Les Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber. I think I just said his name wrong again.
You mean like the Red Skull treatment, where it wasn't same actor. It was similar though.
Did they not have the same actor for Red Skull?
Not in Infinity War and Endgame.
What? Yes, they did. Hugo. Oh, what's his name?
Hugo Weaving.
Weaving,
It was
yeah.
not Hugo Weaving.
I thought it was, but they just didn't prosthetic him.
Yeah, Ross Marquand, who plays Red Skull in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh my gosh. I did not
So
know that.
it was not Hugo
Okay.
after that.
Interesting.
So yeah, there you go. That's a fun little fact there.
Yeah. Today's years old.
um,
SBub says, I remember Nicholas Holt's version because I've rewatched Days of Future Past like a million times. Hey, man, that's a great movie. And Taylor, you don't want to go through all the X-Men. I think at least... Wait, which one is the... Okay, First Class. Yeah, Days of Future Past I think I like more as well. That's the one where it gets a lot more into Fassbender's backstory. You got a ghost back there or something? Freaking me out, man.
I got a
Taylor's-
steel case.
Oh, he's
back
looking
there.
for it.
Yeah, I couldn't see it, but I got a steel case for X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah, SBubs again. Hugo Weaving was only in the first Avenger. That like blows my mind because I feel like in the end game, in like that, or no, I guess it would have been Infinity War. In that review, I feel like we talked about that, and it probably just didn't hit me because it sounded exactly like Hugo, but
It did.
Well,
It sounded
there you
spot
go.
on. But yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add on the Marvel thing before we get to our Patreon question?
I don't think so. That was fun.
Okay, cool. Yes, so we're jumping to our Patreon question here from Chris. You are a new patron for us. How about that? That's just fucking fantastic.
You're a piece of shit, Chris. I was wondering what you were gonna say there. Yeah.
Happy to have you join the family. Again, you can only ask
Yes,
questions
love
if
you,
you join the
Chris.
Patreon. Just kidding. You can ask questions if you're in the chat too. But we prioritize your questions if you are on our Patreon as Patreon perks, incentives there. So definitely tune into the Patreon. But Chris Bago's question is... I didn't copy it over because I got an image sent of it, so I didn't put it in my notes. Hang on.
Let me read
click.
it.
Okay, I got it. We're
Okay,
good.
you got it. Okay.
Yeah. The Twitter scooper, The Watcher, said with Kevin Feige having more of a say in what is going on in Marvel Comics, we will see stories adapted quicker. What do you feel about having this type of synergy? Now what they need to do... Now what they need to do a better job with marketing. Save me, Kirklin. I'm doing your names thing here.
Oh, first cast of the new year, boys. We're killing it. Okay, so now what they need to do a better job with marketing Marvel Unlimited by using movies and films. Have an ad before the movie, after watching the movie. Sorry, quotes. After watching the movie, go read the comic it is based on at Marvel Unlimited. Maybe give away 30 days of the service for buying a physical copy of the movie, as an interesting incentive to... I'm going off the cuff here. This is what Chris said. I'm adding my own thing in there, but just add a little bit more incentive to Marvel Unlimited. And by reading this question, thank you, Chris. We'll get to your other question later, but I'm curious what the numbers are for Marvel Unlimited. If it's something that is really struggling, that they're trying to get up there or something. Because I don't have those numbers in front of me at all, and I don't know. I feel like it's. I mean, when I'm at school or my social circles that aren't podcast crew, I feel like not a lot of people that I kind of know are reading comics, just in general, let alone through an ebook version like that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess you can address the early portion too of what Mr. Chris Bogg said.
I'm glad you read that properly. I was reading in the wrong notion, it was still a question, but you
I
read
know.
it as a
I did
statement.
that first. I did that first, like before cast when I was reading it. That's the way I did it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is gonna be confusing." And there you go.
So yeah, in regards to Kevin Feige giving more of a say with the comics, I think that's fantastic. Now, I never looked at Marvel Comics as being intertwined with the MCU in a canon type of way, like Star Wars kind of tries to throw out there.
Want to know about the Knights of Ren? Well, go
Knights of Ren.
check out this comic book because we're not going to tell you.
Exactly. So thank God Marvel doesn't do that. But I love the idea of the comics and the movies having more kind of association. Because maybe if you loved Endgame so much, then you want to read the Endgame comic that's adapted off the movie. It has so much more detail to it than we got to see in the movie. I think there's a lot of potential there, and it just creates more avenues for more fans of just the franchise in general. So there's definitely no harm in that. Now, second part of the question here. Having an ad before the movie, after, go read the comic. I think that's super cool. Again, it's speaking on multiple levels to the different communities watching the content and everything like that. So I think it's pretty fantastic. I again, the movies have their source material being the comics, so it only makes sense for the movies that do new things to have comics based on that as a source material as well. So it's just kind of dipping your hand in the pot and taking a 20, and then that 20 duplicates itself and puts it back in the pot, if that makes sense.
I like that deal.
Yeah, that's my
Duplicates
pitch.
itself.
That's what
It puts
Kevin
it back
said
in
in the meeting.
He's like, he brings in a pot. He brings in all these props. So, now see this 20? Okay, now pull it out of the pot. Now the pot's gonna make another 20. They're like, fuck, Kevin had a wild holiday. Yeah, so I guess so just addressing the first part of his question there. I think it's interesting that like he's like, because what even was it? With Kevin having more of a say in what is going on in Marvel Comics, will we see stories adapted quicker? Like you said, I feel like honestly, like I kind of just separate like the cinematic MCU. That was a weird thing to say. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, I could have just said, and like the Marvel Comics. I've already kind of like divided them in a sense, because especially going through like some of the comic book version episodes that you, me, and Travis have done, is I realized how different some of these like original source material stories are from the MCU, and sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse, sometimes they're kind of on par. But like I've never really. I feel like, especially maybe before we got into the big podcasting game, and like when I was watching these comic book films, like I never really thought to myself that I had to like go out there and like, oh, if I want to know more, I got to check out, some like this issue or something like that. And I guess that kind of leads into like what Chris was saying, is that like maybe they have to do a better job at putting that in there, because maybe if I did see that little like advertisement at the end of the film or something, or even like beforehand, it's like, if you're interested in the story, like go read out more on this issue. I don't know, maybe I would have checked that out, even though I was at that stage that I didn't really like care too much further than going in, like than just seeing what was on screen, because back in the day I was really just, the only comics I read was like Archie comics, and it's like specifically Spider-Man. It wasn't really like any other characters, and then so I think the last part, what he said, I don't see why that would be a bad idea either, because there's already tons of people that, if they do fit in that demographic of, they watch the movie and they're like, I really want to know more about, I don't know, Loki, for example, if they just watched the Loki show, and it just like, it gave you basically a list or something, or maybe not a list, but just where to get that source material. I think that's a good idea, because there's definitely, pardon me, a good chunk of people, my gosh, that would definitely be interested in checking that out. So I think that's a great point, and I've never really like heard that be discussed either, which is something that I guess is kind of strange as well, because there's been so many Marvel movies, but never any like incentive to cross between like Marvel Unlimited and that. But I don't know, I feel like Marvel Unlimited is doing decent enough. Like it seems to be updated, and like the I really like the UI and everything. It's a really cool resource to have, and maybe Chris brings up a good point here, that they need to be a little bit more synchronous between the MCU and Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, no, well said.
Great question. I like that.
Well, I think we can jump to our first ad break, and we'll be right back with our next topic. So stay tuned. And we are back. So we are now getting into the world of Bond. Now,
I feel like that needs some like Hans Zimmer, like big like musical note or something. I feel like that could be like hitting the organ. It's a Bond.
He did the last one, didn't he? He did No Time to Die? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I should get like a sound
bite, get copyrighted, just make no monetization off this.
Well, we do have those other sound bites in here, but they're definitely no Hans Zimmer.
No Hans Zimmer, no. They do not compare. They're not Hans level.
We got acoustic cinematic here, fans.
Ooh, okay, hit it with me. That's fucking terrible. Take this off. We're gonna be talking some Bond.
That's no Hans Zimmer.
We'll work on that. But anyways, we got some Bond news. Is that what you're saying?
We got some Bond news. Yes. So, you know Aaron Taylor Johnson, right?
I know Aaron Taylor and the Johnson.
Yeah, I love Aaron. I think he's a great guy. I love his films.
What was the first like big thing that you're like, this is my guy? Was it Godzilla?
He's kick-ass.
Oh, okay. I forgot he was kick-ass. He was younger, right? He was a juvenile.
He was definitely he was juvie. Or juvenile. not juvie.
Juvie.
Yeah, he was a young buck back then. But yeah, fantastic actor, and seeing him just kind of rise in the ranks as like one of my, favorite Marvel roles is him as Quicksilver, absolutely legendary. Seeing him in Godzilla, one of my favorite franchises, and then seeing him reprise again as Kick-Ass, and then even better seeing him in Tenet. Just he's so fantastic, and Bullet Train too.
Oh, he's in Tenet.
Yeah. He's risen up and just become such a fantastic actor. I love just. My favorite thing is his transformation. Seeing him in Kick-Ass as the scrawny guy, and then seeing him now just as ripped, like shredded guy. I just feel like I could be him one day, and that's my aspiration.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Kick-Ass.
Become a full-time actor. Have like a full team that's just focusing on your nutrition, your workout routine, all that stuff. It's easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose in the chat, the other ATJ that's not Anya Taylor-Joy.
when Taylor hears ATJ, he's not thinking Anya Taylor-Joy. No, he's thinking Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
I'm thinking Aaron. Yeah. So this is also a C tier rumor that he has met with the Bond team. Now, we don't know exactly in what instance. I'm hoping, and I pitched to Travis, that James Bond needs a fresh new start and needs to be put on a new tier, usher in a new echelon of James Bond. And who else could fulfill that role than Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Bond? Let's do it. Let's sign the check. Let's make it happen. What about you,
Kirklin? A couple other people. It's so funny. I saw this in the notes earlier, and I kind of forgot about it once we started talking about Bond. And it's just like this big lead up. We got the Hans musical note that's not actually Hans, and it's just like, oh yeah, Aaron Taylor-Johnson met with the Bond team, which I completely believe that did happen. I also think that the Bond team has met with many other people. And I guess a little bit of ATJ backstory for me since Taylor did it. I feel like I did see Kick-Ass, but I didn't remember him from it. It was mostly I guess Chloe Moretz I think was the female in there, as well as you have Mr. Nicolas Cage, right? He's like the dad.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, Big Daddy. So I think my first ATJ experience was Godzilla, and I thought he was good at the role at the time. I think that was the first time I saw Elizabeth Olsen too, so that was like putting her on my radar. And I don't know, I feel like he's just been fine for me personally. Like I thought he fit the role of Godzilla well, but that's just kind of like an action hero type. Not even really. It's just like a soldier in that movie. I feel like he doesn't have a lot of chance to shine. Quicksilver, I really didn't like the character. Pietro, I didn't like their accents that they had. Thank God Olsen's been just veering away from that ever since that movie. She's not very Sokovian anymore, but I personally like it more. But man, he totally, and Tenet, I saw that as well. I think he's good in it, but I think for me, I just see him in such different light now after seeing Bullet Train. I think he was so phenomenal in that, the emotional scenes that he had with his brother. Go check out Bullet Train. That is such a chef's kiss movie. But and also just the action stuff, like you mentioned, he is looking a little bit more jacked, and that was a movie too. When I came out of it, it's okay, the Craven news, it's not really atrocious to me anymore. I'll go into it with open heart and I think that he could do a solid job with that, which I think before seeing that I didn't have that thought. So that's all good, and I do think he could be a badass Bond type hero, but I just think the character of Bond is so on another level, and to have Daniel Craig, which is a lot of people are saying that's their favorite James Bond. I think he's probably the best James Bond. He's not personally my favorite, but I definitely think he is the best, especially going through No Time to Die and all those movies that Craig did. I think they're just, he's cemented as a Bond legacy guy, and to follow it with Aaron Taylor-Johnson, I think that would be a noticeably step down. And I don't know, I don't want to sound too harsh or negative, but it's such a tough task entering it. I think when I was going through the retros with Travis, people were even saying that the reason why I bring the retro was because this was discussed on the retros, that I think when Craig was casted, people were already kind of criticizing it. It's oh no, he's not going to be a good fit. So obviously, time could change that. If it is Aaron Taylor-Johnson, he does do a stellar performance, it's definitely possible. But I don't know. I think also maybe, I don't know, just it seems the the move that they're gonna do is do like a person of color or something as the next Bond. I think that would, I don't know, just make sense, especially with what kind of was hinted at like in No Time to Die. And yeah, I don't know. I just think for a couple different reasons it won't line up that Aaron Taylor Johnson is the role of Mr. James Bond. But who knows? I've been wrong many times before. Maybe that will happen, and I'll absolutely love it, and I'll love it more than Craig. I don't think that will be the case, but yeah, that was a long way of me saying, like, when I read this, it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I definitely believe that the Bond team met with him, but I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna come to anything for Aaron Taylor Johnson, but it's still interesting, I guess. We're No Time to Die. It's been out less than a year because it came out in the fall. I don't know. When do you think we're gonna be seeing another Bond? Like,
oh man,
it's
they
such a
probably
big
wanna,
franchise, so yeah.
They probably want to turn that around mighty quick and start making money off of it again, especially because now they've concluded this character arc and this here. So yeah, but I totally agree. And Travis like reiterated what you basically said, like, and added the notion too, like anyone that follows after Craig, it's gonna be pretty difficult to do. It's kind of like I prop this equivalent out to Travis. It's kind of like, I shouldn't say it actually, because I feel like DC will come down hard on me. I was gonna say, well, should I say it? Maybe should I not say it? I'll say it. Fuck it. Bale's Batman is just like, I feel like it's up here on a higher like tier, and then Ben Affleck's Batman came in, and no flack or anything against Ben Affleck's Batman. It's just like everyone was super set with the Nolan films and Dark Knight Rises, and then you have Ben Affleck coming in killing people left, right, and center, and it's just not everyone's cup of tea, so they couldn't get on board with that. And then obviously you have Robert Pattinson that comes in after, and then he just delivers a fantastic Batman. So apply that to Bond. We have Craig, who's just knocked it out of the park. The next one probably will do a really good job and will portray their own take on the Bond character, but it may not be well received. And then after that, Bond will get another one, and then that one will probably be like, oh, this is great. Like, hey, we recovered from losing Craig, and here we are.
Oh my gosh, S-Bubs. He just said No Time to Die was in 2021. For me, in my mind, I feel like I just saw that like in the fall. My gosh. I'm big slipping today, folks. But yeah, that's crazy to me that it actually came out in 2021. It seems so recent. But yeah, there you go. I mean, if it's 2021, like it's already been a year, and then if they're casting for the lad or lady or someone, yeah, handful of years till we see that Bond on screen. But I like what you said there about like, well, first of all, I like how you said like, oh, DC's gonna come down on me.
I'm already getting the emails.
I don't think that's the spiciest take that you've ever had on the cast by far, but still, I digress. But what I did like that you mentioned was Pattinson, because remember when Pattinson was casted, and we did get going from let's give me another chance on the names here. We had Bale and then Ben Affleck, and then divided. Some people liked him, some people really didn't like him. And then when Pattinson was casted, everyone, you saw the memes. I feel like you and I were kind of still in the same, or like in the camp at the time. It's like, oh, I can't see Pattinson being, the guy from Twilight. Like, he's gonna be Batman now. Like really? Okay. And then you see him in the suit. It's like, I don't know. And then I don't know. Like, speaking for myself, he's definitely on like a Mount Rushmore of my favorite Batman now. Do you feel the same, or are you still like, oh, this sparkly vampire can't be Batman?
Well, that ship sailed a long time ago. Yeah, that ship sailed. That boat's gone.
That could easily happen if Aaron Taylor Johnson does get the role, and he does just, do an Oscar level like performance, just brings us in, and like I see him as my Bond now. That could definitely happen, because stranger things have happened in the past. And yeah, like I saw a little bit more layers of what that actor can do. So I don't know. I'm not like really like for or against it at this stage. I think as it just was showed, I feel like No Time to Die still just came out, and I'm still just like in a mourning period with what that movie gave me. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to discuss, because that is just such an iconic character, right? And an iconic like film franchise. It's gonna be a film franchise that we probably will be seeing for centuries. Like it's already been so long, and they'll probably just keep putting them out forever, for good reason, because people enjoy them, and spies are badass, man. So
yeah, they are badass, absolutely. Well, yeah, there you go. I don't have anything else to add on there unless you do.
I don't think so. Do you have like, if it's not Lieutenant Johnson, top of your head, or you're like, this guy needs, or this girl, or this person needs to be the next Bond?
I could see Kate Beckinsale as a Bond. Oh,
Oh
man.
my gosh!
Let's
Okay,
go.
commercial ad break. Get this guy out of here. I love Kate Beckinsale, and I feel like when you were pitching her back in the day on the cast, it's like fuck yeah, get her in there, and it's the ship sailed. I'm not on your Kate Beckinsale bandwagon anymore. Just let her rest, man. Let her
Mila
own bones.
Jovovich, I could see her too. Get her in there.
Why did I know this was gonna happen?
Contenders.
Good contenders.
What about
I don't
you?
have anyone.
You
No,
don't
I
have
don't.
anyone?
I really
Okay.
don't have anyone. I don't know. I feel like it'll be someone I've probably never heard of before, and they'll be thrown on my radar. That's my guess.
Well, yeah, let's
Or
move
the other
on to-
ATJ, Andy Taylor-Joy. There you go. That's
That
my
popped
pick.
into my mind too. But I was thinking, maybe I shouldn't be that bold, but that'd work. I'd be down for that.
It'd be a very different James Bond movie. Jeanette Bond.
Janet Bond. Okay, cool. Well, we'll jump to our next topic here. We got a couple of trailers we're going to be getting into.
Trailer
here.
time.
Yeah. So, which trailer would you like to start with, Kirklin?
How about the last trailer that you and I both watched?
Oh, that fucking confusing one. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Where do you
We'll
want to start
question the
with
list.
this?
We'll question the audio listeners if anyone. This actually might be a good S Bubs venture here because he likes to jump into some old movies mixed in with some new. So apparently there's a movie. Did you see when it came out? Was it like 9 years ago or something?
2013 is when it first came. That first one.
Oh my god.
And that was
Basically a decade now.
A
It
decade,
came
yeah.
out January 1st. So it's not actually January 1st, but and it was called Virtual Warrior.
Yes.
Yeah, so Virtual Warrior came out. The quick synopsis was like two video game character or like, oh my god, I'm butchering it. Two video game characters set in like a Call of Duty-esque world are like basically they know that they're in the video game world, and then it's just I guess their journey. I don't know. I didn't watch that trailer because that's not the one that came out 9 hours ago. Apparently, according to IGN. The second movie now is apparently called Virtually Warrior. What's it called?
Heroes. Virtually Heroes.
Virtually Heroes, which to my understanding is a sequel to the Virtual Warrior movie, which I haven't even seen that trailer. I don't know how that movie goes or ends. It blows my mind that they're doing a sequel to it however many years later, I guess a decade. But yeah, I don't know. Give your quick thoughts on it. I can't even speak about this movie yet.
So I'm looking through like things to like make notes for the newscast and stuff like that. So I'm scrolling through and like obviously like other trailers are dropping and like trailers are dropping like crazy. So I see, oh, this is cool. Mark Hamill movie, kind of memeing on Call of Duty, Virtually Heroes. This is great. So I drop it in the Discord thinking I'm all cool and like sharing news and stuff that no one else has shared, which doesn't happen very often.
And then you do, and everyone's like, "This came out like 5 hours ago, Taylor. What the hell's the matter with you?"
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
that's the one time I've posted something in there. They can be savage. No,
Oh, yeah.
friendly place. Go join Discord.
So I am looking up now just to like, okay, let's talk about this, Kirkland. So I'm gonna try to send you like the name of the movie, and I Google it, and it's like, oh, this came out in 2013. I'm like, what the fuck? So did I just share this trailer that came out 10 fucking years ago, thinking I'm top shit? And so yeah, the names are weird because you point out the names. One was Warriors, and this one was Heroes. And so I checked IGN. I'm like, no, IGN clearly just posted this earlier today. So I was getting super confused because when I watched both trailers, the scenes are almost identical. So I don't know what's going on.
Guess the big kicker here too. We could mention Mark Hamill is in both of them, so that's a big
Yeah.
name, iconic face. Basically wearing his Luke getup from Last Jedi. That's what I noticed at least.
Yeah, sorry, I just snorted.
I
thought I muted the mic.
Did you like mute yourself, unmute, snort, and then mute again?
Oh my god, sorry, listeners, you
happens.
just got
Happens
a
to the
big
best of us.
snort. I might leave that special gem in there for the
You should.
the
yeah.
listeners later.
Otherwise, they would have no idea why we're freaking out right now. But
Yeah.
Virtually Warriors. Taylor Field, what did you think of this trailer?
Oh my goodness. I don't know how to interpret it. It was there was a comparison I was going to make to it. It was kind of like a Jumanji meets like low budget film.
Yeah, It was interesting too, because I don't know if they were like taking footage from the first movie. Actually, no, this wouldn't make sense because it came out 10 years ago now. But it felt like certain moments felt like an 80s filter or something, and then it just like went back to like a modern day, and it didn't do it like cleanly. Like, oh, this is clearly in the past. It's like they had this one action sequence that looks like it's from like Apocalypse Now, and then you just have like a close up of a character who looks like he just filmed this like a couple months ago, like interacting with Mark Hamill, and then there'd just be like a guy shooting a bazooka or something, and it had this like weird 80s filter, and like the sound effects even like sounded very just older film-y. Honestly, for me, I feel like this could be a hidden gem. I feel like this could be a movie that is, I mean, I don't know. I say it could be a hidden gem, but I feel like
I saw you smiling watching the trailer.
Yeah, and like I think if you commit to seeing this, like I probably would commit to seeing this. I don't think this is going to be like a big movie theater venture, but I still think this could be a fun one to talk about nonetheless. And it might even be like a better commentary track, so maybe down the line we do a Virtual Warriors virtually or God, what was it even called? The two different names? Virtually Warriors?
Virtual Warriors, then Virtually Heroes.
Virtually Heroes. There you go. And I don't know. It probably has some underlining, like, heartwarming tale about a guy just coming to terms with him. Like, there's a lot of philosophical ideas Luke Hamill, or at least his character, was dropping for our protagonist here. But yeah, it's an interesting trailer. So go check it out, because I had never heard of this until Taylor put it on my radar. And I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. But I guess it just came out today, so give it some time.
Yeah, so there you have it.
I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say either on this. It's just I wasn't expecting it. I thought, oh, Mark Hamill being in like a video game Call of Duty kind of comedic film sounds kind of fun, but yeah, totally just caught me by surprise because it seems like it's a replay of the first movie. So there you have it. So our next trailer, I'm going to kind of like steer us into the Legions specifically before the other one, because Legions, now I got up this morning, I knew, okay, I saw the Bruce Campbell snippet yesterday, him talking about how we're going to be getting the Evil Dead Rises trailer today, which is all good stuff. Now, coincidentally, I'm scrolling through in my feeds and like classic IGN, I'm an IGN warrior, I guess, but I see IGN post this trailer. I did not see a name for the movie. I just saw that it was listed as an ode to Evil Dead or something like that. I thought, oh, this is the Evil Dead trailer. So I start watching it, and everything in this trailer totally is like the MO of Evil Dead. The mannerisms, the way things are acting and everything. I'm thinking this totally fits, but like the whole thing is in subtitles, which is really weird why they're doing this bold new take with Evil Dead, because usually it's and again, not like bashing on it, but usually it's like an English driven narrative with a couple like young people and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, there's one scene where the mom is in the apartment, but where's that coming up here? And it didn't come up at all. It was like, okay, we're in like kind of like a mental asylum, or not mental asylum, like a old care facility. I just couldn't get a gauge on it, but I thought the whole time it was Evil Dead. So kudos to them for taking full-on advantage of knowing the Evil Dead trailer was going to dropping this trailer before Evil Dead Rises, and taking advantage of all those clicks, because I guarantee you that they made an absolute like killing for creating awareness in their marketing, because it worked on me. So kudos to that marketing play. It worked really,
absolutely.
really well.
I mean, now we're talking about it, so there you go. Anyone that's listening is going to look into this movie, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny. Mr. Travis Snell popped up in the cast here. He says, what are you guys smoking during this cast? It's just good old happiness. That's what we're rolling up and smoking a fat one of happiness. But it's funny that he said that, because in the Legions trailer, there's a couple times where this, like, I guess he's like a shaman or something, like the old man. Mm-hmm. He's a younger man in the flashbacks in the early stage of the trailer, but he like smokes something, and then it like makes him see these creatures or something. At least that's kind of what I was grasping from the trailer. And yeah, Travis, that's what we're smoking. We're seeing demons on cast tonight.
We're seeing demons. Yeah,
just kidding, we're sober. But yeah, for this trailer, I don't know, I think it's one that I could honestly, my horror movie buddy is my dad. So on Monday we watched 4 horror movies. Taylor, you'll be proud of me. I watched Barbarian finally.
Yes.
So it was Barbarian into X, into Pearl, and then to round out the night, he hadn't seen Malignant, so I threw on Malignant for him, and that was a fun rewatch. But Dude, four horror movies like in a row in a day. It's kind of like messed me up because like last night I was having like nightmares and it was just like, oh my god, I gotta like space them out a little bit more.
In your sleep.
Yeah, no, just screaming. But why did I bring that up? Oh yeah, my horror movie companion. I feel like this could be a fun one that if me and my dad are looking for one, down the line, and I'll probably throw this one in the miss because I think there was definitely some good horror movie like sequences in this trailer, at least specifically when they're in like the bedroom and then you see like that little silhouette and they turn on the lights and just nothing's there. I feel like I've seen that in many horror movies, but still it's a freaky concept because everybody's like kind of done that. You wake up at 2 a.m, you're like, holy fuck, there's a man right there. I never have a light switch right next to my bed, but I usually just go back to bed because worry about it later. So yeah, I don't know, I think this trailer, and like Taylor said, it is a I think it's like a Spanish like movie, so like that's like the primary language in it. So if you want to be watching this day one, you'll be getting that. Is it common for them to do like an English dub like day one? I guess it would depend on the movie, but if not, you'll probably be watching this in subtitles. But yeah, I don't know. I think there was enough interesting horror movie elements in this that make me want to check it out eventually. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna rush to this one, but I do think I do think there'll be some fun moments for sure. And I think like some of the character designs they had for like some of those spooky Evil Dead-esque characters we saw in the early portions of the trailer were definitely freaky. And kudos to them for like the natural prosthetics and everything and the makeup and everything because it looked very spooky. And I think this will be possibly a hidden gem, possibly a complete forget about movie, but who knows?
Yeah, I agree. It just seems like it fooled me. Like I thought it was Evil Dead, but I liked how it was portrayed aesthetically. It just made me really feel like it was a little bit of stuff that I was familiar with, but a little bit of something new. I felt like it had like an Insidious meets Conjuring kind of vibe, and I really like that. And I really am excited to kind of see the story unfold here. Now I don't know what the release date is. I couldn't find it. However, it's definitely 2023. So I look forward to seeing it. It'll definitely be something I see in theaters. I don't think I'll bring Madison, my wife, along to see it. No, I think this will be too much for her or anything like that. But yeah, this it looks good. And again, I don't mind subtitles. I like subtitles because I feel like I can actually better understand what's going on in a scene, and I can feel like I'm actually like in these possessed situations with these people when I'm reading subtitles. So
I am a ride or die subtitle guy, and Shay turned me into that. I used to never watch subtitles, and then she would always have them on. It's like they're distracting, but she told me it's like when you're eating and you just are crunching like a madman, you can't actually like hear what's on screen. You don't miss anything. And there's like back in the day, I would rewind shows because I like, oh, what did Tyrion say in that one Game of Thrones scene? But now I never have that because you just throw on the subtitles. I found out at movie theaters you can like ask for like a little device, and it just has like closed captions for the entire movie. I'm like, I might just start asking for that. I don't even have like hearing issues.
It's for the hearing impaired.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like anyone can ask for them. You don't have to pay or anything, which I just found out. So I might have to flex that right of mine to get that. S Bubs in the chat. I think Legions is releasing sometime this January. I think it's around January 20, but I am not sure.
Well, he's
more than we know.
He says that. I thought so too, but every time I was Googling it, I was getting like, oh, Star Wars Legions is releasing a new rulebook on January 16. That's not the right Legions for me, but obviously S Bubs facts are more in a row than me.
They're more in a row. Yeah, absolutely. The guy in the chair.
Guy in the chair, yeah. I think that's everything I got to say on that. We can move to our last trailer if you're ready.
I'm ready for it.
The real Bee's Knees Evil Dead. So, I mean, you're a huge Evil Dead fan, right? You got the T-shirts, you got all the books and the comics, right?
I am not a super big Evil Dead fan. Evil Dead has a special place in my heart because I this is one I mentioned my horror buddy companion, which is my father. He showed me these movies when I was probably too young to watch them and really messed me up. They're definitely fun movies to revisit though. And I mean, just growing up, like it was just such a quotable like film, at least swallow your soul. And like that idea of like the grandma, like just trapped in the basement. I feel like that's just been a running joke in my family that like, at my old house, we had this like little like basement area with like one of those trap doors.
What do you guys do to your grandma?
And we'd lock her in there, yeah. God, that's good. But no, like that would just be a running joke, you know. It's just like you hear knocks in the middle of the night, and it's that lady. So like Evil Dead, it's always been kind of there. I've only seen like the original 1, 2. I because there's been the third, and then like something, and then a remake. I know they have Ash versus Evil Dead, which I heard is phenomenal. I do want to check out one day. But the remake, I was surprised how much I liked it, because that was actually like very gory, like borderline like torture porn-esque, and I kind of forgot about that. So I feel like I wasn't ready for when this trailer was coming on. I'm like, Red Band, let's just get right in there. Ugh, I was squirming watching this trailer, and I know I'm gonna be squirming in the theater watching this for sure. And it's the type of movie that I probably wouldn't watch because of the gore, but because it's Evil Dead, I feel like obligated to get in there. So I'll probably be in the theater with my dad watching this movie when it comes out. And man, what a trailer this was. This like genuinely freaked me out watching it. It's just, I don't know, the mom like daughter dynamic was just terrifying, and God, that mom looks freaky.
Yeah. My history with Evil Dead is I was probably very, very young, and I started watching. I think it was the second one, Dead by Dawn, and that one was just super, super freaky. It had like the really freaky kind of like practical movement effects and all that kind of stuff, just terrifying stuff. But I, for some reason, found it a very addicting as a horror film. It's just something about just Bruce Campbell's energy and just everything going on in the film is very, very like everyone kept going to this fucking cabin, and it was just no, don't go to this fucking cabin. But it was just a very enticing film. So after that, it kind of like set me off for okay, let's get into Army of Darkness. Let's get into these other iterations. Let's go hard on Ash vs. Evil Dead. Now I can't remember what the actress's name is, but I didn't get to meet her, but I saw her, Dana De Lorenzo. So she plays Kelly in Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I didn't meet her, but I saw her when I went to Toronto Fan Expo. Saw her in the crowds, and I was like, holy shit.
I was wondering where you're gonna say you saw her, because I was like, careful, Taylor. It's like I didn't get to meet her, but I was staring at her like fucking Cyril from Andor.
Yeah, the same basement door thing that you have. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, no. I didn't meet her, but she's a very nice person. She was like doing like a fan signing or something like that, and like I was super into Evil Dead at this course of time. So I was like, okay, they had a awesome sale on Ash vs. Evil Dead season 1 for like $15, and I was like, oh, let's buy this and let's just go to town. So there's a little bit of my history with it. I saw that new one, and it's very, very violent. So I haven't seen it since.
The jigsaw scene with the tongue.
Oh yeah, no, I have not seen that since. Just a lot of like crazy shit in that movie. But yeah, I was trying to figure out like where does this one take place in the timeline? Is this a sequel to that one, or is this just its own standalone?
Hey, like I think it's called the Necronomicon, like the dead book that they keep finding and reading, and love that they're keeping like the same like teeth aesthetic and everything. I guess it would make sense because it's the same book, but yeah, they didn't really mention where that came from. I also liked just how like claustrophobic a lot of this trailer felt, like in that one like apartment or like condo complex thing, whatever. Like it just seemed like majority of it was in that room, minus that terrifying hallway peephole moment. But then you also get like a moment outside, like in like at a lake, right? Like they're kind of on that dock. So yeah. I don't know. I'm curious just where we're going for this film, because it seemed like that dock sequence was after like whatever. At least after some things that happen in the room, because we see like a scalp fall on the dock, and we see that scalp get removed. And I'm again, I feel like it's the Red Band trailer thing, because I see the Red Band, I'm like, okay, R-rated, but I'm never like expecting to see stuff like that in a trailer. So when they actually do it, I'm like expecting the cut, but it doesn't cut. It just rips the whole scalp off. It's like, oh god, yeah, they got me there, but.
Yeah, as Post confirms, this one's its own thing.
Which is fun. I think it's a fun idea.
I think that's very fun. Yeah. Just get another anthology film in the franchise. Let's do it. That's fantastic. It alleviates expectations and allows for new development, stories, character arcs, all that kind of stuff. So I'm totally down for it. Yeah, I'm curious how they kind of bring the Necronomicon into this and see its origin point. But Yeah, the Red Band trailer, like the classic, like "Evil comes home." I fucking swear I've heard that a billion times, and
Yeah.
it never gets old. But
It never does. It's a great line. Like it's
oh
such a great
yeah,
slogan for this type of movie.
there were some callbacks here that made me think of The Shining when they were looking at the bathtub scene, and like even like there was like a hallway scene, but yeah, specifically the bathtub, and like mom comes out. It's like, okay, this just seems very much like The Shining. I really really like that kind of a callback, and it makes me wonder if they have other kind of like not corny but like very subtle cliche horror tropes that have kind of like will make you think of other horror films put into this, which I would think would be fantastic. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. Again, the scalp thing that you mentioned totally caught me off guard. Fuck, that was brutal. And how like the demon's talking like, oh, I just wish I could cut you up and get like it's stuff you all up and get inside all of you so we could all be together. It's like fuck. And how stupid is this girl? Nothing a little kiss won't fix. Are you fucking kidding me, kid? I hope
Okay,
that
yeah.
I hope I can teach my kids in the future to just, holy shit. Like, fucking come on. What do you think
Just
you're
show it to
doing?
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
just
look at
unlock
this.
the door.
If
Yeah.
this is me, don't fucking open the door.
yeah, don't. Jesus crikey. S-Pubs in the chat as well. There's a Green Band trailer with lots of different footage if you're interested in watching that. Shows a bit more of the story.
Yeah.
I thought about watching it, but I thought I'm just going to stick with the Red Band
Yeah.
and just probably go in blind, I think. I don't want to see too much for this movie.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. And like I feel like they could definitely do very different things because this is like its own Evil Dead thing. Like they would like follow the same rules that the Evil Dead follows, but do some sort of, I don't know, story element to make it different from the other ones. But I really don't need that. Like just watching the Red Band of like the gore and whatnot. It's like, oh yeah, no, this is Evil Dead for sure. And you know what you're getting yourself into. And for me, like personally, I'm not gonna watch that Green Band trailer just because. Yeah, I know I'm going to be seeing this, and I think that's what the trailer's purpose kind of should be, is to give you a little bit of an appetizer to see if you're ready for that full event. And I definitely am. I'm going to show my dad the Red Band trailer, I think, as well. I want to get
There you
some
go.
same reactions, especially just the way that like the trailer like opens. It's just so disturbing. You have like the mom who's just clearly possessed by demons. It looked like she had like bloody ankles or something too. I didn't get a full look at that.
She
They
was
looked like they were
bloody
cut or something.
Yeah.
And like just the fact that she was like throwing the eggs like in the dish, and they were like bloody eggs too. It was just so disturbing.
Yeah.
S-Bubs in the chat. The Green Band will probably play in the theaters more than the Red Band. Yeah, there you go. So I'll probably see it. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, I don't have nothing more to add if you want to just kind of keep on trekking.
Yeah, maybe another ad break.
Let's
We haven't
do
talked
it.
about in a little while, so
We'll be
be
right
right
back. And we're back. Look at that. We said it at the same time. That's cute.
that's cute.
It's
It's a fun cast. We got good
Okay.
energy tonight. This is fun.
Oh, yeah. That's some juice and energy. Okay. So our next topic is into the wonderful world of DC. Yeah, so there you have it. We got some very interesting developments. Now this is like the creme de la creme because we're getting some very serious show notes here. Travis didn't want me to have any he wanted me to like concentrate, rehearse the notes, practice. So Travis, you'll be pleased to know me and Kirklin, we dissected and dived into some of these articles that we're supposed to read into.
Oh, yeah.
We are we're gonna just slam dunk this fucking
We
thing.
did say there's
So-
gonna be no laughs on this cast. We failed that.
That
I think
ship
within the first
sailed.
minute. Yeah, it's been a very giggly cast.
Very giggly, yeah. So the first thing, we have Wonder Woman 3 details. Now I'm gonna just pull up one of these screenshots here because it seems like we are not going to be getting any Wonder Woman stuff for quite some time. And so as I pull up this first article here, Kirkland, I just want to know, how do you feel about not getting Wonder Woman in this kind of first initial phase of the rebooted DCU?
Yeah, I think on the surface, I'm completely fine with that. I love Wonder Woman so much. Like the first movie, I thought Gal Gadot was just such a powerhouse in that role. And I mean, when I first saw BVS, I was just so excited to get my eyes on that movie and like what it was going to be with this character in this world that they're setting up. And I was definitely not disappointed in that first movie. Now obviously a lot's changed since then because I since have seen Wonder Woman 84 and I forget like the vast majority of that movie. I have no intention of rewatching it. It was very forgettable for me, which sucked because I obviously really really liked that character. Wonder Woman was always like a character, not my favorite, but I at least liked her enough from just like what her powers were. I just thought they were interesting. Having you got the classic invisible jet that's kind of been memed on, but I think the lasso of truth and like her bracers and everything like that is just very fascinating utility equipment. I feel like it borderlines like secret gadgets, and I'm a big sucker for secret gadgets. But yeah, I don't know. So surface level, it's just like, okay, not getting her for the first 3 years. I think that's totally fine. Not really gonna flinch at all on that. But at the same time, like when I stew on it a little bit more, I do think it is kind of strange that just now I get they're doing like not a blank reset, but like at least some readjusting, or it's like, what do you remember what like the terminology they said? It's like a semi reset or something. Like they're like not everything is just completely wiped. Like they're snapping their fingers, but like they're definitely picking and choosing. I don't know. There's a specific term I had. It wasn't blank reset, but it was something. Someone will probably remember. But anyways, because they're not doing that, it just seems weird to me that I wouldn't be seeing like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman just like right away. Because if I'm trying to think of like the chronological order of things, like she technically should kind of be there at least earlier on. Like unless they have like a really good reason why she just completely disappeared, I don't think. I just think that would kind of be a little bit in the back of my mind. Like while I'm watching, like if we have our new crew, I'm not saying a full Justice League or anything like that, but just our Mount Rushmore of who's going to be like the head of DC, and we just don't see Wonder Woman for a hot minute, and there's no explanation why. That's very bizarre, and maybe I should give them some credit because I think they're smart enough to know that would be kind of weird. So they probably need. Ooh, that was spooky. It's just like a cobweb that fell right above me. But did you see that on camera? It just like swiggled down.
No.
Fucking jump back. That was terrifying. But yeah, I think. What was I even saying there? Oh yeah, I trust them enough to handle it well, whether it's an explanation or or something like, the classic Poe Dameron. Well, somehow Palpatine's back. Somehow Wonder Woman's just gone, and we won't see her for the next 3 years. I think that's very, very strange.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm gonna twist this around now for you. What if I told you?
I know. I was like reading the chat, and I was like trying to keep going on because I know you assholes. I know S-Bucks. I know Travis Snell. I know that this was sent.
They're all freaking out.
It. Like, my gosh, let me paint my picture. God damn it.
Travis
the cobweb screwed me over.
Oh my goodness. So, for the listeners out there that didn't know, we have an amazing tweet by the one and only James Gunn himself saying, "I hereby debunk it, only because it's not true." Now, could you have waited, Travis and S-Plebs? No, you couldn't have.
No, yeah. Instant gratification. It's this young generation, right? They're just, give me what I want now. That's false.
Yeah. So now we know that we're going to see Wonder Woman within the first 3 years of the DC universe, which is fantastic. This is great. So it just totally confirms it. Now, do we have dates and all that? No. Do we have like castings and anything? No, not at all. But it does show that, okay, this is what they're lining up. Maybe we could get Justice League related content. Maybe we could be getting something here. Like, we don't know what kind of a notion or component they're going to introduce her with. But do you feel like we could get that reboot movie just kind of like, again, I feel like Gal and her era, everything's kind of being thrown out of the window now. So do you think it'll be standalone? Do you think it'll be kind of like thrown in like a BVS kind of scenario where she's just kind of like an extra cameo thrown in? How do you feel?
I feel like she's too much of like an S tier character, and like I mentioned, like I use the Mount Rushmore metaphor, but like I really feel like she is on that echelon that like you can't just kind of backburner her. Like even if she's not the person with the most screen time, if you're using that example, but like the front of it, I feel like you still kind of just have to feel that presence that like, no, she still is like a very much person. I'm like mention it like it's a company or something, but like she's like the head of that figure. I feel like she might not be the number one, but she's definitely up there. And yeah, so to answer your question there, I don't think she'll be like a side character, but maybe someone that's just kind of popping up in a bunch of things. It's interesting because we know that well, obviously the Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman 3 just got like scrapped or whatever, or they just not scrapped. It's not like it was a Batgirl situation where they had a what it was, $78 million movie and they're just scrapping it. No, it was they just ended up cut ties. They couldn't come to an agreement, so not gonna happen. And I feel like also part of me kind of just attributes Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman and Patty Jenkins like together. So knowing that Patty Jenkins is out, it's like, oh, what is gonna happen there? But I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough pill for me to swallow if she is just gonna be the side character. So I think that's why I'm on that camp so heavily. But what do you think?
Yeah, I would like her to kind of like, if they're bringing her back, let's do it like big and bold. Let's just give her that movie. Let's not make her like a sideline character. Like, I want to just get immersed back into this Wonder Woman world with the mascara and all that. And let's move away from the Steve Trevor kind of stuff, because we don't have to like repeat and rehash that kind of things. But yeah, according to S. Bubs, who says according to the DC website, the four pillars of DC are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn. Many people were surprised by that last pillar. I'm surprised too, S. Bubs. I'm quite shocked at that last one. You think it'd be like an Aquaman or a Cyborg?
I think what it should be is the four pillars of DC are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, yeah.
Because, Samuel about like Harley Quinn as a character, very popular and whatnot. I don't think she would be nearly as popular like where she is now if it wasn't for Margot Robbie. So I think that's a super effect from that actress, what she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess I don't really have anything else to really add on the Wonder Woman notion. I just think big and bold movie. Let's do it. Let's get back in there, especially now that clearly she's a pillar.
Just like a standalone. Like, how would they, like, what's the pitch? I'm not saying like what's the plot, Taylor, but like, what is the plot? No, I'm kidding. What what would happen there though? Like, is it just disregarding the previous films? Is it fucking Wonder Woman 82, just like another prequel? Like, what happens? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing, because we have we have this set up like, okay, like we're gonna be talking about the Ezra stuff, but we have this kind of notion like, are we gonna be just keeping these characters as legacy characters now and just moving in with like this new story? Like, do I feel like they're gonna like keep like the storylines with Gal and Steve Trevor, all that kind of stuff alive in legacy? Maybe, but yeah, like it's I'm not sure. I just don't want them to rehash and repeat the same old. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think what does help them about like just strategizing where they're gonna place her, whether it is like I don't know, standalone or an appearance in a movie or a team up or something like that, is that like technically all the Wonder Woman standalones haven't been like present day, so you do have wiggle room on kind of what she's been doing, these last few days or years or decades. So I think that definitely benefits them. It just, I don't know, if I was to be asked like how is this gonna tackle moving forward, like I mentioned, it's tough for me to not see her in like one of those leadership type roles, especially just with what it was kind of alluded in Justice League and all that stuff. But we are kind of hitting the reset button, so I'm very intrigued as to what's happening here. And to mention like the tweet that James Gunn just basically debunking that one that rumor that we're just not going to see her. I think that definitely is a big positive in my eyes, because I'll judge them when I see them. I'm not going to say like, oh, like Saffron and Gunn, it's just going to be smooth sailing from now on, because I haven't really seen anything that they've done yet. But I'll be cautiously optimistic going forward, because I love the character of Wonder Woman, and I really want to see her just popping off, and I don't know, kind of pulling that needle away from the Marvel side a little bit more on the neutral side, for me at least, because really, like, other than the Batman, I feel like it's just basically been like a flat line on the Marvel, for me at least personally. I don't know. So
yeah, sweet. I don't have anything else to add on Wonder Woman 3 unless you do.
I don't think so. I can move on.
Okay, so our next bit of content, focusing again on the DC universe, is in regards to Ezra Miller. Now, James Gunn put out a tweet. I don't know what's out there about Ezra, but our slate is 8 to 10 years, but we will only be announcing some of it this month. So there was, again, the whole kind of notion that Gal Gadot's obviously Wonder Woman is out, but they're possibly keeping Ezra Miller's Flash in. How do you feel as Bubs the Flash 2? Now there's 3 Ezra Millers. How do
He
you
always has good titles.
He's got
I
'em
always love
lined up.
SBub's titles. Yeah.
He does his list of like titles before we like go live, so he's got them all prepped. How do you feel about keeping Ezra? Do you feel as if it's kind of the initial play of like revamping the universe by having Flash kind of go through a different timeline to different heroes?
I mean that helps a lot. Like, if that is the like the position that they're going is to have like the character of Barry just like splitting off. Like you could have different versions telling different stories. That if maybe one rounds out, like you still have this actor portraying, that version of the character elsewhere differently, maybe with a different set of crew or whatnot. But there's just so many potential moments I think that you can do with just the time travel. Anytime you're like rippling time, I mean, look what look what the MCU kind of did. Like that's how they just took Michael Keaton out of the Spider-Man world and put them in the Sony world. Like they can just do so many things like that. I mean, it's an interesting thing with like Ezra because I just haven't been following any really Ezra news. I've heard that apparently like they were seeking help over the summer or something for like mental health, or I don't even know if that was summer. I just pulled a random time of the year, but like if that's all good and they are seeking the help that they required and like they're coming out of it so much, I don't know, just more stable and happier and whatnot. I think that's fantastic. And if it all makes sense, like on the DC side of things, to have Ezra just keep that role of Barry and just moving forward, like it all works out and there's no more ripples. I think that's obviously fantastic. It's also one of those things though that because I'm not super fond of Ezra's portrayal of the character Barry, like I'm not even like a big Flash fan, so it's not like they are my favorite or least favorite like versions of the character because I'm just so, I guess, absent from that character. Like I just don't really have much skin in the game, I think is what I'm trying to say. So I don't the best way of me saying is I don't really care one way or the other. I just want good content. That's kind of where I am. So long spiel over with. And like again, like I hope it does work out because Ezra on screen I think has definitely brought me some good moments as well as some head shaking moments. But that's not really like their fault. It's mostly just the writing around that character, specifically in Justice League with some hot dogs. That was just strange. Who greenlit that?
From the moment Ezra had portrayed Barry Allen, I just thought that I like it. Like I really, really do. And so I've been a supporter of Ezra's performance of Barry Allen. So getting to have more of that performance is definitely okay in my books. And while definitely Ezra has had some tribulations as of late, like you said, they are getting some assistance, it's some help, which is all you could really ask for. Like that's really, really good. So to make a bounce back from that and to come into a new light and just to really dedicate yourself to a role and just to kind of like keep portraying this character, I think that's fantastic. So I'm all for it. I really, really am, and I'm excited to see if they were to keep Ezra and to kind of like keep on going along with that and using that as the kind of like anchor point to kind of dive into the new character or same characters played by new actors and actresses. Totally cool with that. And I think that not Flashpoint, but this Flash movie is definitely the foot in the door to kind of access that. So yeah.
I'm so intrigued with what's going to be coming out in these the big slate that Saffron And notice how I've been saying a lot more Saffron, because before it was like Gunn and that other guy that I don't know. I'm giving him his just due as the co-CEO of DC. So, is that even their role? I don't even know. Just the head of DC, something like that. But anyway, Saffron and team, meaning Gunn as well, is able to just put out there, because I don't know. I've definitely loved some DC things. I've definitely hated a lot of DC things, and I think the potential that could come out of this Flash movie is honestly pretty intriguing for me. It's I mean, we did our movie preview, and if you didn't watch that episode, spoiler, the Flash wasn't in my list for my most excited movie to see this year, but I think it's still going to be an event film, and yeah, hopefully it's good times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can move on to our last bit of news, unless you have something.
Before you get to there, we're going to come back to our friend Chris Balga here, because he asked not one, but two questions, and one of them was in regard to kind of this topic, as well as the last one we talked about, how he said, why would Gunn and Saffron keep Ezra if they already parted ways with Henry and possibly with Gal too, based on the news today? He says, I'm not even talking about all the possible legal stuff Ezra is caught up in. Test screenings are apparently going very well for The Flash, but is that enough to stick with them? Taylor Field, I'm going to ask you, because I read it out and I need to take a little beverage.
Yes. I think that they would keep Ezra... it's tricky, because I'm trying to think of how to word this. I think that they would keep Ezra because of the bridge to the universe of having all these new characters come in, while things that were with like Henry Cavill, and this is kind of more in a notion with what we'll get into after with The Rock being our next topic. I think that certain things that were kind of pushed by outside forces that weren't Gunn and Saffron resulted in like Henry coming back. And I think that if people like Cavill, for sure, he's a fantastic Man of Steel, and people love Gal, she's a fantastic Wonder Woman, but if these new heads of the department come in and they slap this massive book down of like, here's our 3-year plan or 10-year plan, whatever, and it just generally makes sense, and this looks like it's a strong moneymaker, like they know things that we don't. So I imagine that whatever they presented, it was damn good. And if that presentation at its core had Ezra Miller leading that charge, at least for the little bit, to get us to these new stepping points with these new actors and actresses playing these familiar characters.
Yeah.
Obviously leaving Cavill and Gal back in the back cupboard or whatever, then I think
in the toy closet or
in
something.
the toy closet. Yeah. Then I think it totally makes sense, and it's justified. Yeah, so
for me, I feel like it just, like you said, they know stuff that we don't, and there's probably some good structured like DC restructuring that has like Ezra's as I'm not gonna say one of the 4 pillars of DC, but just like the character of the Flash with what this movie's gonna be doing, they're probably pretty significant in the sense that despite all of this like legality issues that Ezra was going through and just chaos that they were causing, it seemed like wherever they were going for a decent amount of time, like when that was going on, all I was thinking of was like, how the fuck have they not like just gotten rid of this individual yet? Like this is just chaos. Seems like bad press, and they were already like axing films at that time. But I mean, if they have agreed to like seek the help that they need for just their own sake, as well as just like DC as a company, and like them representing DC and those projects, right? If they're a part of it, I think if they do agree to, which they have, which is awesome, but also like. If it is Barry Allen being like an integral part of just like this reboot for DC, I understand why they're keeping them, at least for the time being, until, I don't know, story purposes, just make them have their exit.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
I don't think I have anything else I can add to that question.
Chris Balga.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
He also mentioned that was his first Patreon question, so thank you, Chris.
Nice Patreon. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chris. So like I alluded to, our last DC topic and talk about this newscast, Weekly Geek, is, of course, the one and only Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so now we did read some stuff about him. Specifically, the title of this was Secret Meetings, Tequila, and Black Adam versus Superman. How Dwayne Johnson's bid for DC Power flamed out. So clearly, Dwayne Johnson was trying to sneak his way in here and take control of DC. Like, it wasn't good. So, in an emergency secret meeting, I'm sure this is where James Gunn and Safran were brought in, and
Yeah.
they just kind of like, hey,
They're like,
what?
you were gonna say something, and
I was going
interrupt
to, but then
so
you
I
were
was
lined
gonna,
up, so I was gonna let you go.
I was gonna say, hey, we gotta stop this fucker and his tequila. He's gonna take down our Superman.
Well, that's the name of the game here, because it seems like The Rock was literally streamlining this trajectory of like, hey, we need to have Cavill back as Superman, and we're just gonna pave the way for Superman versus Black Adam. That's what he's going for. I mean, hence we got obviously the cameo in Black Adam of Cavill coming back himself too. So Cavill went ahead and reported on social media like, hey, I'm back, and obviously that was clearly just based off of what Dwayne Johnson was telling him. He's probably like secret meetings, texting Cavill's like, hey, you better tweet this out, with Black Adam dropping this weekend, like let's get those numbers up. So
Numbers are in the green, or what does Norman say? It's like never been better. And then S-Bubs comes in. You're out, Dwayne. What does he say though? He like enters the boardroom. He's like, numbers have never been higher.
yeah, profits are up.
Yeah.
Costs are down. And our revenue has never been higher, or something like that.
Yeah. Which is a bold time to just axe this founder of the company or whatever, if numbers are really doing so well. But alas, the Dwayne effect. But yeah, man, oh my gosh, just reading that article title just made me laugh so hard. Secret Meetings, Tequila, and Black Adam versus Superman. How Dwayne Johnson's bid for DC Power flamed out. I mean, it's funny enough, I was kind of talking to an individual that I go to school with who's really not in the weeds at all with any of this types of stuff, but like still they were mentioning how like it's just funny how like the lead up to like The Rock's Black Adam has just been such like a long thing coming, and it's just been kind of like, I mean, they're also not like following any of the news stuff or whatnot, but it's just like there's just been like crickets afterwards, like it's like, oh, this is gonna be a whole new era. The hierarchy of DC is about to change forever, and then oh, we're getting Cavill back, like all these like big things leading up to the film, and like it was kind of like a big event when the movie dropped. I bought a pack of Zoas for the first time. I got all really hyped, and then just here we are, like months later. It's just been like even those people that are not really interested. It's just like, oh yeah, whatever happened to that guy? Like we're gonna be having a lot more of of The Rock as Black Adam and all this stuff, because I mean, like if you've even semi like heard about like The Rock and Black Adam, you probably have known that it's just been like over a decade of him like really pushing for this type of role. Maybe I'm being generous with just assuming that a lot of people have heard about that, but I mean, yeah, it is kind of funny to just discuss these months later that, I mean, like DJ, we'll call him Dwayne Johnson. He was just such a pusher for getting Cavill like back in the DC. So I credit him for that, because I love Henry Cavill, and to have him at least one more time in the suit, that's that's a win in my books. But yeah, it's really humorous to me to just see these like dynamics where like especially the new guard of DC are just so like against the vision that Dwayne was going with, and he was just kind of like strong. I don't know if strong arming is like the right term in that, but like he was really just using his influence to just kind of like will things into his existence, which I mean, give him credit for too. And like he is a very influential individual with all of his. He's a maniac, with how much he works out, with the amount of projects that he does, the amount of companies that he's starting and like doing. Like I just don't understand that individual at all, but give him credit for that nonetheless. But it's interesting, I think, to hear like the more negative like side of it, of just, oh yeah, this guy just came in, had his own plan, and like just didn't really like care about what we had to say or anything like that. And then I don't know, I'm kind of rambling here.
Dwayne went around everyone, which didn't sit well.
Yeah, great quote from that article.
Yeah, this is it's such an interesting thing, because yeah, he obviously had his own aspirations, he had his own goals, and he was gonna come in here and like the system was crumbling. And so he thought he could sneak in and just kind of like take advantage and do it. And am I saying The Rock's a bad guy? No, not at all. I'm sure he's a very, very nice guy, but I'm sure like he is a business owner. He runs businesses and companies, so obviously he knows how to put on a show too. He comes from WWE. He understands like the rule book and the playbook for all that. So he's coming in here and he wants to the hierarchy is going to change forever. He's wanting to like go about it and lead the charge. And well, I admire that kind of dedication, but if he probably maybe wasn't, it is still a new industry to kind of swoop in here and like be the actor in here and then start calling the shots to try and give yourself producer status on like Super Pets. Like there's just some very questionable things here that, I mean, he doesn't understand this rule book and playbook maybe as well as like the one that he's very much used to and like in his other world, I guess. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like we podcast, we know the rule book, the playbook here, but if we were to just jump into the film industry, I'm sure Travis would be fine. But you and me be like, well, we don't know the rule book playbook. Like, but no, let's put our producer status on Super Pets. Like you just don't do stuff like that. It's very peculiar, especially because he didn't even promote Super Pets like at all, I don't think.
Yeah. So no, I don't think so. Oh no. Get this guy out of here. Oh, no.
What is he doing here?
Bad guy enters the room. What's going on?
There's a quote that Taylor just said. He's like, we're in the podcast world and we know what to do here. We know how to podcast. And
we know how to podcast.
Like
We're killing it today. What's this guy doing?
What have you guys been on? What have you guys been on since the start of this episode? It's been
a fun time.
It has been a train wreck. Oh my!
Oh, it's been great. It's been great.
Oh, I couldn't believe half the stuff that was going on. Every second there was something that I was like, "What is happening here?" But good on you. Good job.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
You want to speak on the topic, or is that just all you had to say?
No, I don't got anything to say on Rock. I don't.
I love the backdrop. A whole new game change.
Yeah,
I haven't
like
seen
that.
it yet.
Hanging dong.
It's all new.
Princess Scoundrel.
Unfortunately, like there has to be a lot of like extra air up here to see stuff up here and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like
you need a new spotlight. That's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like I don't know if it's bumped up every time, but is there a reason like The Rock is always your guys' background?
I
Always your guys'
specifically chose it here because of the Rock news.
Okay.
It's not always our background.
I swear every time you guys
guy
do
tunes
news,
into one of our casts. He's like, oh, he sees The Rock. No, it's going to be bad. We're going to be siding with him.
I have to, but no. Continue on.
Happy New Year,
Godspeed,
Travis.
everyone.
Good to see you.
Happy New Year. Welcome.
DC draft tomorrow.
Get that shirt off, Travis. Okay, so where were we even? We were just praising
We're
The
talking
Rock.
about-
Oh, yeah. So him as producer status. Yeah, that was a funny part of the article. I was just like... He brought his like tequila brand to what even was it? Help me remember here. It was like a big like event for the Black Adam release, and he's gonna be setting up like a Terramana, which if you didn't know, that's his
Terramana
tequila
brand.
Yeah, that's his tequila brand. Like I don't know, like a booth. Probably was gonna be like semi-sponsoring the event, which I guess is always sponsored because it's just The Rock's cash probably. But yeah, and it's like a PG-13 film, just like really bringing like everything, like all the marketing tricks that he had from like all different walks of life and just like throwing it on this, not really caring about like if that it was a DC thing, that it was a PG-13 or anything
giving
like
out
that.
tequila to kids and all that.
Yeah, and like you mentioned with like him throwing the producer status on the Super Pets, but also just refusing to maybe I shouldn't say refusing, but just not promoting like at all, especially if he's like a producer on it. It seemed like he was like an upset child at DC in those moments, and I think those criticisms are completely fair because I don't know. I personally really like The Rock for the things that I've seen him do. I understand people's criticisms, especially on like that front. How he just kind of I don't want to put words or ideas in his own mind or mouth, but it seemed like it felt like he could just walk in and kind of like do what he wanted because he is this powerhouse that is The Rock, but it didn't. Like the new guard, which is Saffron and Gunn, definitely aren't having it. They think they can take him. At least two, man.
Well, I mean, it seems like he had Zaslav right in there, locked in, ready to go. Okay, sign this Terramana brand contract here. We're gonna, these guys, this is gonna be the drink in the DCU for the next 10 years. Not Zoas, not yet, but just Terramana tequila. And all of a sudden, Gunn and Saffron walk in and like, hey, we don't drink that, so let's tear this contract up. And there you go. So then he was out. I think that the notion of him bringing in like his own tequila to some kind of thing like this is just super, super weird and peculiar. Yeah, I just think it's very, very odd. You don't. Like, I'm trying to understand like the right kind of public setting that you would do that in. Maybe I don't even think you do it for an R-rated movie. It's just peculiar. Like, here, try some of my tequila. You know what brand that is? That's my brand. Terramana is the brand. My tequila. It's just super weird. Was he shilling it out left, right, and center?
I picture him just like that iconic video of him incognito wearing like all of his Rock branding outfits and just looking like the Rock with his like Captain America incognito hat at the back of the theater. Walks in, there's probably like families and everyone enjoying the screening. He just brings it. Like, now everybody's gonna be drinking Terramana now. He's like, and you gotta drink it now.
You gotta drink it
like
now.
Watching. He's just being very, very strange about his products.
Yeah, well, I think that's it from the article. I mean, he's definitely out. It's like it's not happening with him anymore. So
You're
his
out,
plans
Norman.
are scrapped. Yeah, you are out. And yeah, his movie definitely bumbled away because it was October 21st, fizzled out with 391 million worldwide against budget of 195 plus 40 million reshoots, and that's not even including the fucking 8-year fucking massacre that this film had trying to get its feet off the ground. So yeah,
No, absolutely.
there you go.
Any other final thoughts then?
I think that's everything.
I think for me, like, we covered a lot of stuff today, but like one of the most interesting things I think to take away is the fact that James Gunn did tweet that they have like an 8 to 10 year slate. I think that's pretty wild, especially with that. I think it's that same Variety article that we were just talking about with the Tequila Dwayne versus Superman, whatever the hell it was. Because I think they mentioned that it was going to be like a 3-year slate or so that they're going to be mentioning, like at least like the next few just the next few years of DC. But it's like 8 to 10, man. I feel like that's more than Marvel does in like those at least like initial slates. Maybe I'm mistaken, because we did see actually a lot of stuff that hasn't come out yet, so I'll take that back. But still, like, that's damn, like they got enough to show off for the next 8 to 10. Like that's very interesting to me, so I can't wait to get some more and more details from Saffron and crew.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you get like 2, 3, I don't know if I'd say 4, probably 3 movies a year, and then mingle in a bunch of TV shows in there as well. Like, you're onto something. And that's not already, like, not even including like the Batman. We know we've got the Batman 2 coming out, and who knows how many more films of that.
Got Joker too as well.
Joker
probably
too, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff already on the slate, and then more to come. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Absolutely, we'll be covering it.
We'll be covering it. Well, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else, Kirklin?
That was fun times, sir.
It was good times.
It was a good time till we had a third just come in here, crash the party.
Yeah, the Weekly Geek's supposed to be 2. What the fuck?
We gotta just like raid his Travis Told You some every once in a while. Just drop in there. Just
we'll get all of like Geek
complain
Ultimate
about
Alliance.
something.
Get Chris in there. We'll all just drop
Yeah.
in like halfway through the show.
Yeah, show off our backgrounds. Like, I don't know what's going on. I need some more lighting or something.
There you go.
Just joshing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this episode of GeekVerse Podcast Weekly Geek. We will be back again this week with some reviews and news and all that fabulous content. So until next time, we'll see you in the search bar.
Farewell.